Hi there friends, Cassie here. Welcome back for another video here on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be playing with a Spellbinders club kit. This is the Amazing Paper Grace Club die set. And I love these dies in particular because they're, made to usually make something that's just a little different than a regular A2 size card. You could use this on an A2 size card, but we're going to make a 5x7 today. So I've got this piece right here. This one is going to cut an inlay out of that piece of cardstock that measures 5x7. I'm going to tack this down with a little bit of post-it tape and run this through my Spellbinders Platinum machine. And you may need a shim for it. And this is what you'll get. Is that not gorgeous? Ugh. And so here's a card base. That's a 5x7 card base. I love how that looks on there. Imagine the possibilities. I've even seen this used on a slimline. And I think that was really cool because it was right in the center, which is neat. So I'm going to show you how we're going to make our images look like stained glass. I am going to take just some cardstock colors. I've got just this yellow and green because I think that's a fun color combination for roses because as you can see our die cuts are roses, and I put some clear embossing ink over the top of that, and now I'm putting clear embossing powder over the top of that. I'm going to heat set that till that is smooth and melted. You could do this a couple times depending on how thick or glossy, well, not glossy, but it's going to be glossy no matter what, but how thick you want your paper to be. And I'm going to do it on the green as well, both of those pieces that you see there. So we're just going to cover that with that embossing ink, cover that with the embossing powder, and then heat set that. And it's going to give it this nice shiny sheen, which is just going to be so beautiful, and you're going to see how it's going to look like stained glass. It's a super easy way to make it look like stained glass. So there are my pieces. You can see how shiny they are. I'm going to take the big pieces, and we're going to cut out our roses, and we're going to cut out our backs for our leaves, and we're going to cut out just those extra little leaves as well. And then I'm going to show you how you can make the stained glass portion. So you're going to have these two dies, just lay those on top of each other using like some post-it tape, and then you can run that through your die cutting machine just like that, and you'll get this. So you get that nice outline. Check it out. It looks like stained glass. So now we've done that with all of our pieces just using some black cardstock, and I'm going to use some reverse tweezers and some liquid glue, and we're going to adhere these down to the tops of the pieces that they go onto. And just imagine, like I was saying, the color combinations that you could do with this. Just so pretty. Because those are heat embossed, I'm going to make sure and put like a stamp block on top of those just to make sure that that adheres down nicely. It can get a little slick when you're talking about embossing and some liquid glue. So that's where that stamp block comes in pretty handy. So we'll do that with all of our pieces. I love how these line up. And I love the stained glass look, really. And then we'll do it with our leaves. So it was the same process with our leaves. It's a two-part leaf. And then we're going to attach down our panel to our base. I love this. And then I'll just put some little dots of glue on the parts of the inlay that are sticking out. Just want to make sure that those stay down. Don't want to go too crazy with the glue, and then we'll just adhere that right down to the front of our card, or our panel. That's a panel, not the card base. And then I'm going to put some foam squares on the back of our roses. So I'll put two on the big one, and then probably should have thought of that first. Move that, and then I'm going to take just one and put that on the back of our smaller roses. We'll stick those on the side. And then we're going to bring in the word. So this die set comes with the word hugs, which is perfect for all occasions, right? And I love it. So I'm going to just put that down before I put down any of my leaves. Just want to make sure that that has plenty of room, and then I don't put leaves where I want my sentiment. So now I'll just glue down my leaves. Instead of putting foam squares on those, I'll just glue those down. And I am going to save one big rose and one big leaf back because we're going to put that on the inside of our card. I love doing that. I'm making a mess. Looks like I love making a mess. But then we're just going to keep putting those leaves around it. I love the little sprigs as well. I die cut those out of that green, and they're nice and shiny also. Even though these don't look like stained glass, they're shiny. They just look really pretty around the rose. I love how that looks. So I did 2 of each of those. One of them didn't die cut perfectly because it shifted. That was my bad. Shifted when I was die cutting it. So I'm still going to use it, but I'm going to make it look like it's kind of underneath one of the leaves. Just partially under there. And then when I was sticking this down on top of the card base, I decided I wanted a little bit of black to show on the left and right hand side. So I'm going to just trim off the slightest amount on both of these long sides. And then I'm going to take some black cardstock and just trim down a tiny bit of that from what I've die cut out. And these aren't going to be perfect, but not a lot of it's going to show. And then I'm going to take a little bit of liquid glue and put it right on the card base on the edges. And then I can stick down each of these little black pieces. These are just going to be in the background. Same thing on this side. And see, that one's not a perfectly cut piece, but that's okay. This one was giving me fits. And then I'll trim off the excess. And then I'm going to take my panel and we'll adhere this down after I mess with this edge again. I have to re-glue it. And then I'll take my panel and I'll go ahead and glue that down to the front of our card base. I love making 5x7s. Oh my goodness. I'm just enjoying it so much more these days. I mean, I love making all sizes of cards, but I really love making the 5x7. So that's what the outside looks like. We're going to go ahead and put this rose on the inside. Goodness, I love that black, that contrast. Really makes it pop. I'm making a mess. And then that's going to finish off our card. I love how that turned out. And I have another one to share with you using different colors. And it uses the other one of those, that big die that comes in the set. But isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love it. I'm going to have a blog post, so I'll have that linked down below. And I'll have links to the kit, or the club kit, so that you can go check that out. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.